that people, I'm not even doing introductions, child. I am just convinced that people are either they don't respect spirituality, they do not respect psychic abilities, they don't respect tarot, but yet they want to be tarot readers and all of this stuff. I am convinced it's either that or people are so motherfucking delusional that they really think that other people cannot see them. Okay, I'm going to repeat myself. Either people do not who claim to be in the spiritual community, and I'm not trying to come here on this Wednesday and be all dooms and, but I really have to advocate for myself here. I really have to advocate for myself here. And the people who need to know will know exactly, because I'm going to use some key words. And how you will know that I'm not bullshitting is the behavior and the syntax of the words using. Okay. Either people who claim to be adjacent to the spiritual community have no respect for the spiritual community. They don't actually believe, they don't really have gnosis, they don't really have knowledge. Either the people who claim to be in the spiritual community don't have gnosis. Certain individuals, not everyone, certain individuals like to attach themselves to make money, to try to earn something. Either that is what's going on, and that's super unfortunate if that's the case. Like, I really feel sad for these people. Like, going into 2025, I got to take a different approach because I think I don't know what to do. I have like asked over and over again that certain individuals not contact me. And it's kind of fucked up because I respect money. But I'm going to tell you something. As much as I like the ideation of being a whore, I'm not that big of a whore. Like, I don't know. There's just some things I just won't whore myself about. Okay, everyone has a limit. You may not like the terms that I'm using, and I'm starting to recognize that I can be a bit hyperbolic and I can be a bit polarizing because I will use terms that feel right to me, but they're not widely accepted, and get upset that people don't understand what I'm saying, when the truth be told is that I may not be giving them the benefit of the doubt, that they could be disturbed by the terms that I'm using and not really see the genius behind the shock. Like, I'm trying to shock you in a way by saying something so that you have a different experience with the things that I'm saying, that it creates a visceral experience for you to really examine how you participate in this as well. Okay? So I'm having to realize that I need to slow down a little bit and explain myself, because I will use, and I'm going to continue to use, very harsh terms. But it is in an effort. And you may say, well, you can say that so many different ways. You can say that so many different ways. Me and you are two different people. If I'm feeling a certain way and this word best describes the way that it impacts me in order for me to resonate with the thing, you may, like, for instance, we could both be eating vanilla ice cream. You could say this vanilla ice cream is just blah. To me, however, I may eat the vanilla ice cream and say it tastes so pure. It doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on. It doesn't have temporary colors. It doesn't have artificial sweeteners in it. It's just sugar, cream, butter, whatever, right? It's just, it's just simple. There's vanilla bean, there's sugar, there's cream. It's simple and it's delicious and I love it. Versus someone else could have that and say, yeah, I had vanilla, but they had vanilla in a certain way in which they're like, oh, vanilla is boring. Vanilla is boring, and I don't really that. Sorry about that, guys. Vanilla is boring, and I really don't care for how boring vanilla is. It's something like that, right? That sort of thing. Okay, so they can say that, and like we're both saying that we are having vanilla, but the way that this person associates vanilla with being boring and not having enough sprinkles or not having enough variety in flavoring and not having enough, different types of flavor, they're disappointed with the simplicity of vanilla. Whereas me, I am so impressed that the people who made this ice cream were able to make a rich concoction and keep it simple. They didn't have to doctor it up with something artificial. Okay, I'm just giving you an idea of how you could be saying something, and I'm having this nostalgic feeling about first having ice cream when I was a kid, right? And someone could be like, this bland ass, no creativity having ass vanilla, right? For that person, that visceral reaction, it doesn't mean that they don't have artificial flavoring. Maybe it just doesn't have any other flavoring. But they are annoyed that their palate is not being stimulated by something else to create contrast and to create an emotional or a artistic or interesting experience while they are indulging in ice cream. That's what they want. Me, on the other hand, life may be fucked up. Okay, I don't need any more excitement. Okay, quite frankly, I may I may have just taken 1,000 people, which doing tarot readings, sometimes it is not the same. But sometimes, like, I know everyone's all up in arms about the lady who took 1,000 men. But I swear to God, man, sometimes doing tarot readings for people, dude, like, oh my God, it feels like I'm having sex with every single person that I'm doing a tarot reading with. And maybe this shit is because oh, I hate to have to explain this shit because I am a seventh house sun. But when you have dominance in your, depending on which freaking like birth chart you run, your sun moves houses, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Anyway, uh, I'm an eighth house dominant person and 12th house dominant person. Jesus Christ. Okay. And with this, and I'm Neptune conjunct Sun. And I think I heard someone call Neptune childish, like you have to be an idiot. That's me personally. You got to understand where I'm coming from. I have Neptune in conjunction. I'm not someone who's clueless about the way in which outer planets affect you and give you superpowers. I'm not speaking from a perspective of what I think something is. I'm not projecting my ideas. I'm generally speaking from experience. I have over 12 years experience doing tarot readings. So when I am speaking, the conversation flows in a way that denotes that I am experienced, that I have range and I have scope that has been afforded to me through years of working with people. So when I make associations, it is literally coming from an expert opinion as opposed to a projection of what I think. I wanted to differentiate me and what I'm saying maybe from some other opinions, right? So yeah, it's not what I think it is. It's not what I perceive myself to be projected out onto other people. It's none of that. It's from a visceral experience as the thing. You understand? So therefore it denotes that I have more authenticity and I am fully equipped, authorized, and what is the word for it? What is the word? The word escapes me right now. I have authority in the topic. You see, it's different if you don't have direct experience or you don't have the history. You may have a concept in your mind, but there's a difference. You can have a concept in your mind, you can have a concept of what you think, but you can actually have experience. You can have experimentation. If you have experience, listen to the word experience and experiment. You have differing values. You have things that give you contrast. You have a ledger, if you will, right, that allows for you to denote differences and similarities, right? This is what happens over years of doing something, and as you perfect yourself and as you perfect your gifts and your skills and your ability to communicate, your words, your descriptions, your the nuances, if you will, become sharpened, in which you can convey a message that way, in such a way that someone who's never had experience with a thing can damn near believe that they too know things the way in which you know it. That is a marker of experience. A marker of experience is when you can break something down so simplistic that someone who has zero experience doing a thing damn near assumes that it's easy. They damn near assume that it's easy. Anyway, that has something to do with what I'm saying, but I will get off track. So let's go back to what I was saying. I know everyone talks about the woman who slept with 100 people and the woman who slept with 1,000 people. First of fucking all, let's just talk about some facts, okay? The bitch who slept with 100 people, she's a Leo, a 0-degree Leo with a Virgo moon. I don't know the moon sign of this Bella Blue or Bunny Blue, whoever the fuck she is, right? But what I do know, is that she's a Taurus. I find it really interesting. I do. That the fixed signs are out here doing numbers, taking bodies down. I tell you, I find it really interesting. Huh? I find it really interesting. And you know what else that tells me? That tells me that Scorpio's not the freakiest. It is, in fact, Taurus. So, you know what, Tony Baker? You can go to hell. Because, Tony Baker, you said, I know this has nothing to do. This is random as fuck. And I swear to God, I'm not attacking Tony Baker, but a lot of Tauruses do this shit. A lot of Tauruses, y'all do. Let me call the fuck out now. Oh, I can do without this kind of sex. I can do without this kind of sex. But then your conversation alludes to something else about you. I would have never taken Tony Baker as a casual sex haver until he said what he said. He said something. I was listening. I was listening when he was getting his feet together. And he said, and I quote, if I have sex with a chick and she becomes possessive, now the one of the number A, twin, twin, okay? The if not Scorpio, this is you would never get these motherfuckers. Listen to me. You will never get these motherfuckers to admit this shit. But they like it. Anyway, but they don't like it if they don't like you. If they don't like you, if you come across like somebody that they want to throw to the furthest end of the world, they don't want you to be possessive over them. Fuck no. But if they know they like it and they love it and they can't get enough of it, they actually would like for that person to be possessive over them. Let me explain something to you. This man said, now I would have never guessed this until I listened, because you listen to people. You got to listen to people when they're talking to you. Or just talking in general. He said if she becomes possessive after sex, or or if she says she gets crazy, that means that you have a lot of casual sex, sir. Which means that a previous point you said in which I can do without sex. You know what? Why are you having casual sex then? There's a lot. Because People who can do without sex, they don't just have casual sex. I don't know who y'all think y'all talking to. I am an eighth house person. Let's not get it. I will get into the psychology on a bitch. I will get into this. Don't make me do, because I got my right now. No one sees me. I'm gonna tell you how crazy I am. Since we're on the topic of crazy, no one can see me, but I got my pointer finger and my index finger and my middle finger, both of them two with mind you, I got stiletto nails pointed to each side of my temple, as if I'm motherfucking Professor X, and you can see me, right? And I'm talking with grand intensity, great grandeur in my intensity, and I'm having a full on movement of hands. You hear me? As if you're here. That's a whole other level of crazy. But anyway, I digress. I'm a great conversationalist because I do not stop doing the shit that makes conversation great just because you're not in my face. Trust me, this is something I pour into, and now I'm doing the pouring into hands, both hands. So, anyhow, nonetheless, I figured out that he could be a whore. And so I know that people go and say that it's Scorpio, but y'all got to remember Scorpio and Taurus are on an axis. Okay? Scorpio will go abstinent on you. I've been abstinent 7 years, and I fucking love sex. I love sex. I'm almost a sex addict. I can have a lot of sex in one day. Okay? I have a grand capacity for sex. 7 years. It's a feat. You bitches are not putting 7 years on the board. I promise you. And don't give me this shit, oh, it's because you're being awkward, or maybe you didn't like this, or maybe it was an insecurity. There are some wide built bitches out here pushing out numbers. You understand me? There's some bitches out here. There are some bitches that are perfect who will never have the marriage satisfaction as a bitch on 600 pound life. That's just the truth. It is just the fucking truth. Huh? And I'm saying this as I'm going through my weight loss journey. There are some bitches out here that are perfect, bad to the bone from head to toe, and niggas keep leaving them. And there's some faithful niggas married to a 600 pound bitch, or some faithful women married to a 600 pound nigga. You hear me? That man can't do nothing with that button under his stomach, but she's there with his grandiose ass. You understand? He's there with her grandiose ass. I'm just saying, okay? Sometimes ugly love is better. You motherfuckers be out here doing beautiful love and you're unhappy. Okay? You're unhappy than a motherfucker. You're so unhappy you're having casual sex. In today's time when syphilis is back on the rise, bitches. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all out here having sex with 100 and 1,000 people, taking it in your eyeballs with syphilis on the rise. Some shit that can give you wooden teeth like George Washington, the president. This bitch had wooden teeth when he died. You understand me? This man, this mant, had wooden fucking teeth because the syphilis went and knocked his goddamn teeth out. Do you hear me? They rotted that man's teeth the fuck out. Do you hear me? King Henry VIII was a peg leg bitch. And I say that because he killed so many women. Okay, so I'm not going to let off on King Henry VIII. He was chopping hoes down for even the smidget of herb salad that could be misconstrued as witchcraft. Just to have a female queen. He was killing bitches because they wouldn't have male children. And the first female queen, this is previous to Elizabeth. This is the reason why Elizabeth was allowed to reincarnate until the latest Elizabeth. You understand? That sounds crazy. Don't take it. This is all fictional as far as what I'm saying and my perspective, but it's not fictional if you know what I mean, okay? It's all alleged, okay? I'm doing the crab fingers right now, so you'll know, okay? Or you can say I'm doing the thing where it's like silent, snaps to give her her things, okay? But what I'm telling you is this. King Henry VIII killed a lot of bitches because they didn't have male children. And what he didn't realize is the reason why they didn't have male children, it was because of the inner bitch in him. Hello? A lot of whorish men have girl children. The men who actually practice a little bit of, discipline and produce male children. And actually, male children denote that the sex or the sperm that won was closer to ovulation. The girl children denotes that the sperm was deposited, or the winning sperm that was deposited maybe 4 to 5 days before ovulation, whereas the boy sperm can denote that the winning sperm was deposited maybe 2 to 3 to maybe a day or of the day in which that person ovulated. So you can, if someone is trying to go for a girl and they kind of been watching their cycle and they know the day that they ovulate, they get the milky presentation, they're super horny of a woman, and you get that little clear discharge and you know the day almost to the day, like plus or minus a day. The closer to your ovulation supposedly produces a boy, and the further from your ovulation produces a girl. The reason why, the sperm that will produce a girl lasts longer in the acidic environment in the womb than the boy sperm. The boy sperm move faster, but they die quicker, like men do in life. And the women's sperm lasts longer. They live longer, but they move slower, like women in life. Okay? So that's a little keynote for you to know right there. So anyway, I digress. So a lot of times this person is dropping off penis and they don't realize that a lot of, maybe it's spiritual, a lot of men I notice who are very, or have been in their life very whorish, produce girls. And why I find this to be the comedy of the universe, right? I find it so interesting because these same men scrutinize whorish women. Heavy. Heavy. You don't think Jupiter, in the sense of the Roman and Greek, ideas of Jupiter and Zeus, wouldn't scrutinize whorish women? But you're the fathers of the whores. So could it be, sir, that your whorish activities, your whorish nature, is then downloaded into the daughters that you help create? And so the one who's busting it wide open for 100 dudes or 1,000 dudes is just replicating your legacy. They say whatever you give to a woman, she will multiply. So what makes you think your whorish thoughts, your whorish ideas, your whorish state of being, the way your beingness, the way that you are being in the world, your beingness, like as you sit here, you are being, you are a being, and you are being something, or your beingness. Everything about you is whorish. Everything about you is using women. Everything about you thinks less of women. And you go, my dear, my sweet king, and produce a girl. So when she's saying, I want your fluids, this is what the Bunny Blue Girl says. I want your fluids. I don't care about your respect. And so men like to go and bring out the Bible. They like to bring out what they think. But the facts still remain that some women are presenting a certain kind of way under patriarchy. This is not some woman coming up with it by herself. Then I have another theory too. My other theory about these women who are having a lot of sex is that, especially in England where there's a lot of gang raping going on, that if I show you I can take 100 men in one day, 1,000 men in one day, then the violence that you, or the satisfaction you get from raping women and thinking that you are destroying a woman, me showing you I took these 1,000 men down and pretty much burped their soul fiber as if they were nothing, would then cut down your ego, in which you believe that the power of your penis could destroy a primal being such as a vagina. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening in this cesspool. But a lot of this is the result. Like, people don't ever want to get to the root of things because it would denote that they have to take a level of responsibility. But it would denote a severity in our society, Western society, and a severity in the patriarchal rule over the last 4,000 years of the treatment of women, that women now associate sexual pleasure with extreme, most disgusting acts. But we can all call these women disgusting, right? But we go, and the two top religions are, or three, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And for Christianity specifically, a lot of conquering had to be done in order to eradicate pagan beliefs. They say Joan of Arc, her village was burned down, and that before, the woman who cared for her, according to the Joan of Arc movie, that woman was raped and then impaled with a sword while she was being raped by two men to protect Joan of Arc. We can talk about those women being disgusting, but we don't want to talk about the ways in which women have been sexual captives for thousands of years, experiencing sexual slavery or slavery, and that epigenetic coding, that trauma that then changes your DNA, especially if that woman goes on to produce daughters or sons, and it continues down a genetic pool. We're not talking about the trauma in the DNA that expresses itself, and in order to free itself from the generational curse, if you will, right, of trauma, it now turns that traumatic experience into something to be conquered with pleasure. So when you see these women taking multiple men, getting trains ran on them, where it was no longer, where at first it was rape play 100 years ago, as a way to dominate and women, while also creating brotherhood amongst men done in private lodges. They would have these men kind of circle jerk with a woman, pleasing each other with each other, because they're not there for her. They are bonding with one another sexually, whether they want to see it that way, right? You have a woman go through that experience, and she produces in another lifetime or in her offspring girls who have a karmic cycle that's created for them through them working through soul things, decompressing soul wounding. And now they're taking it 1,000 to the face, because in one lifetime, or their ancestor couldn't make the decision and is still dealing with the trauma. Upon their death, they were still dealing with that trauma. So in this lifetime, I need to rectify this trauma. How do I do it? I associate it with money. I associate it with pleasure. I associate it with feminine freedom, if you will. I associated with killing egos and letting you know that, bitch, you didn't kill me because I let you put it in me. If anything, I took soul fiber from you, because even your good book says that if you allow your seed to drop outside of the intended walls of your wife, that you disgrace God. So in a way, I am helping you be complicit in destroying your soul. Something that you were going to do irregardless. And not only that, I get to take a piece of you, because trust me, that amount of male energy, the amount of money she's going to make with consuming that much male soul fiber as a woman, because she can multiply your energy, is going to be crazy. If you look at the bank accounts of Bunny Blue, and when you look at the bank accounts of this other young lady, it will be obscene and it would make most people angry. But the truth be told is that this is the laughing matter. The industry in which these women exist wouldn't exist if it weren't for the excess of sexuality of men, the excessive need of sex for men. What's up, TS? Hi, Mistress. Hello, darling. Okay, I'm not speaking for it. I'm not speaking for it at all. I'm 7 years abstinent. Yeah, of course, I've learned how to bring myself to orgasm with no physical touching whatsoever, just purely off of Kegel muscle contractions. Okay, sure, but no physical touching with anyone else. Okay, can I project myself astrally? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, but nonetheless. Oh yes, honey. You get some yogic things when you withstand and you have a strong sexual drive and a high sex drive. You might be able to orbit yourself into another dimension sexually, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Okay, but what I'm saying to you is this: all of that masculine solar power that these women were able to extract. And not only that, think about how many men are coming from watching all 100 or all 1,000. That's a lot of fucking energy pulling. That is a lot. Do you realize that is a. And then we're not going to sit here and talk about the spirits that know, like, they may not be conscious of what they're doing, but these are most certainly water nymphs. These are water spirits that know. They know these spirits are trickster energies. They are very well versed. Oh, thank you. You said make me your slave. You're sweet. Oh Lord. Okay. All right, child. You have to be subscribed for all of this, because that's what I put the subscription on there. So bless your heart, okay? You're one brave soul, okay? You better be careful what you're asking for, first of all, because you don't know what's walking with me. So I'm going to say that there's some disclaimers, okay? So let me just say this, though. Let me just understand me. To do this, those women disassociated. Okay, and I'm going to go back to what I was talking about, the spiritual community, because I got to talk about these people who are trying to make a... Ooh, I'm like, I know you intimately. I know your scent. I might even know what your panties smell like. Don't you dare ever think that you're cloaking yourself when you're coming to me for a reading. I'm not ashamed to tell you I know what humans smell like. I love humans. I can smell you. I know human body odor. I'm not ashamed of knowing the nature of human, both men and women. I can smell a person a mile away. Like my senses are so tuned that I can tell who went to the bathroom. I can tell if you've ever, like, I can tell who's been where, because everyone has a unique scent. Even if it's the same funk, it's a tinge different kind of funk depending on the person it is. Okay? So how dare you act like you coming to me when you are a avid urinary tract infection haver? Come to me for a reading and think that you're cloaking your goddamn self. Bitch, no you don't. Because the level of desperation that you have, it extends well past. It follows you. You take you everywhere you go. You take you everywhere you go. Hello? Anyway, back to this other subject. Do you realize I'm not advocating for this shit? I swear to God, it may sound like I am. You cannot keep you cannot contain your own essence away from, separate from an entity with these sorts of acts. These sorts of acts would separate you, and you would be operating, it would, out of protection of the inner child, you would be disassociated. These women will have pockets of time in which they forget. There will be whole months and years from now in which their brain will shut off. And so with them participating in these feats, what gives them the ability to participate in the stunt is that mentally, and maybe something from childhood, sexually or identity wise, they are able to disassociate in such a way that they can do these things. And when they come back to themselves, they'll have the benefit of the act being done. I'm sure they don't watch the videos, but they have the benefit of the money. So the way they see it is, bitch, I just teleport the fuck out of my body. Because when you have a lot of trauma that happens to you, whether you go through fibromyalgia pain, a lot of trauma, you separate from your body. And people who've been through trauma, sexual abuse, racial abuse, negligence, anything super painful mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they realize how temporary the body is and how eternal the soul is, because there is a separating as if one died without physically dying, in which they can hover above their body as their body goes through these experiences. They are not in the body, and then they can return to the body. And if they can associate the experience with earnings, then they have taken the trauma that may have been induced on them or pushed on them as kids, now turning it into millions. So if I got to be crazy and I got to replay in my mind childhood molestation, childhood sexual abuse, at least I can do so in $1 million estate. At least I can do so here, because we don't know where all these children who are being trafficked are going to. We don't know where Bunny Blue comes from. We don't know where Lily Phillips actually, we don't know where these people come from. But we do hear about a lot of child trafficking cases, right? We hear about people like Joan Bonet Ramsey, who that happened in Fort Collins, or was it out here in Colorado where I am? If it's not Fort Collins, maybe it was Boulder. I think it was Boulder, which is like north of where I am. So we don't really know these girls and boys. So when you see them in adult films and on Pornhub and all of this thing, to me, I'm not the one that has to deal with that. I'm not the one that is 7 years old having to make sense of being forced to do very adult things at 7. That's not me. That's not you, for the most part. Our experience of being a little girl or a little boy, having to do these very adult things that we see these grown people doing, and having to understand and integrate that into their psyche at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 years old. That's fucked up, right? So that at a time where you are a child and it becomes, I mean, there's stories coming out about Hollywood actors and actresses who had wild sex parties and their kids were just in the other room. To the point where I believe there's one lady who was considered Britain's Marilyn Monroe. I can't think of her name, but her life with her husband and their sex parties was so extreme that the son was raped. Like the son's like there, she ended up committing suicide because she had really bad ovarian cancer because of the result of repeated sexually transmitted diseases. Yes, repeated sexually transmitted diseases can equate to cervical cancer with HPV, or can travel up the urethra, not well, urethra too, or can travel up the uterus, creating uterine lining or cancer in the uterine lining, or ovarian cancer. It's a lot of stuff can happen with women. Okay, so that even lets you know that there had to be an extreme action. And both of the women, how I know that they're lying, both of the women both claim to have been super innocent before they got into these extreme expressions of sex. They both have the same story. Oh, I was planning on being a virgin and waiting until marriage. I was super innocent. I have never really had sex. And the next thing I know, I exploded on the scene. Bitch, that shit doesn't happen. The shit y'all doing psychologically doesn't happen. Because for women, biologically, that's unnecessary. And for most of us, especially if we don't have extreme trauma, most of us are going to do what's natural to us, even if we tend to have a higher sex drive or lower sex drive. Those are variables. But without trauma and with a pretty normal childhood, we may have some interests, we may have some kinks here and there, but those kind of extremes, no. A lot of the young men who were also involved wanted to have their faces shielded. Some of them were so scared, because some of them were of Muslim background, of themselves being found out by their family and being kicked out. So there's an extreme, like I'm doing something so extreme that it scares me and I'm shaking for after having done it, but I did it anyway, which denotes a need for a release from an extreme environment. So either way it goes, every person that's involved, if it's a man, it's a man, most likely he's an incel. Women don't come easily to him. He has a porn addiction, has hidden homoerotic fantasies that it goes against his religion, goes against his upbringing, and he's not comfortable with himself. There's a lot that can go into the reason why men would position themselves to be in these extreme sex sports or trying a lot of different sexual things, because there is a rejection of behaviors learned and behaviors that they don't understand, and sexual interests that they don't understand presenting themselves. And men remedy themselves, I know, through sex. When y'all have a heartbreak, you try to go through a lot of women. When you are poor, you try to go through a lot of women. When you're going through stress, you like to have a lot. Men find therapy in running through women. Maybe it's the way that men are socialized. You know? Maybe it's that. But men find therapy in running through a lot of women. So, with that said, right? When you see these examples, when you see these sorts of examples of men and women being involved, it denotes stress and strain and abnormalities when it comes to development mentally, emotionally, physically, and the reality of the person is extreme. It deviates from normalcy or what we need to thrive in a normal human life. When you see the men who participate and the women who allow it, you're seeing people who were raised on the fringe of society. You see people who have extreme upbringings, oppressive upbringings, religiously oppressive upbringings, or sexually deviant upbringings. It's funny how oppression can also feel like violation via sexual abuse. That's another topic for another day. If we really want to get into the psychology of things, baby, we can really get into it because I'm your girl for that. I like to sit and really think about people and think about what's going on and break it down piece by piece. The psychology behind it. But these two women lied about them being innocent and they just broke into. That's not a normal reaction amongst women. It's not biologically necessary. For men, at least with men, men have a biological desire to make sure they reproduce themselves. So hormonally, they're supported in that end of desiring sex with multiple women because they may get beat out or may not have the opportunity to reproduce themselves. So that desire, just like male animals or insects, to reproduce themselves is high because they can't produce children themselves. They have to rely on something outside of them to reproduce them and give them another chance to reincarnate. They're not connected and they don't have the source energy. They don't have creation energy within them the way that women carry the articles of the universe and the portals of the universe within us. They don't have that. Okay? So there's going to be that driver to want to delineate or die slowly. Lapit mort. That's not a saying for women. Women don't die with orgasms. Men do. Okay? So I heard a term yesterday when they were saying those women are soul reapers. They are. Every time a man releases his seed, that's life force being released from him. He's dying a little bit with every release. Some insects literally hurl themselves into the mouths of female snake, like not snakes, but female spiders, so that she has enough food via consuming them in order to sustain having the eggs that he fertilized, in order to give him a chance to be reproduced. This driver is primal with men. For women, it's not so. So the way in which they're having sex is not a female driven biological response. Okay? It comes from masculine energy. And it's almost as if men are offended by the presentation of their works as a collective body. Not individually, but as a collective body. The truth be told, if men really were offended, they would swear off porn and they would swear off strippers. Men would go and ban other men from participating or watching porn. They would get rid of anything in the sex industry if it really bothered you. But it doesn't. It does, but it doesn't. The reason it does bother you is that it challenges your ego. Because somewhere deep down inside of you, you know that that is a dominant thing that that person is doing. And because you've regulated women as not equal in society, it feels as though women are now more masculine. When the truth be told is that these sorts of acts are absolutely the consequence, okay, of the very imbalanced nature of male expression and male dominance. And women surviving in a climate over thousands of years, hundreds of years, of being subjugated to being second class citizens. You may not see that correlation, but if you sit with this, you replay this over and over again. Think about the person that's here, that's in my chat right now, that calls themselves TS. They're angry because I won't stop what I'm saying, something that is far of importance, at least to me, and all it has to be is important to me, right? But what they're saying to me are, let me just explain to you. This is the conversation thread. Hi, mistress. Hello. Make me your slave. You are sweet. I'm your slave, yes or no? You are angry. You are mistress. You are angry? Question mark. Hello. You are angry. Talk to me. Smiley face. Mistress angry? You see what I'm saying? Even in this construct of me speaking on my channel, right? Whether it's a man behind this or a woman behind this, I am not to have autonomy and direction of the things that I'm speaking about. I am to, it is automatically assumed that this exists as a reality for this person to speak to me with no reverence, knowing that if we were face to face, they would not have the same boldness. Despite the fact that their digital footprint is here, despite the fact that I do heavy work, spiritual work, and all I have to do is screenshot this and do work with it. There's nothing that's going to separate this person from that work, no matter what avatar they put around it. Despite all of that danger, the need to suppress the feminine is so ingrained in our society. It's so ingrained that I present a thread where only 2 people watching me and 2 people subscribed on this channel. Okay? That's how we say we like it, but do we? I think that men have a hard time accepting consequences. I think that men are very childlike. And I was looking at a live stream a couple of days ago where these women were jumping in and telling women to just be quiet. And that these men, you got to be mindful of what you're doing. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that a man who's supposed to lead me has no capacity to command his sexual loins in such a way that it renders him retarded when he's presented with a vagina and a great set of titties? It doesn't even have to be a great set of titties. It can be like mine's old country set of titties. Just old ignorant set of big areola titties, right? And mine's have character. You know what I'm saying? They got a little discoloration. They have some character to them, right? It can be that. Jumping up and down, right? Just nipples going all kinds of places, right? That renders a man retarded. And I'm supposed to feel comfortable going forward, seeing how the world is going, right? I'm supposed to feel comfortable being led by this being who, despite the fact that there are 1,000 men in line to bust a woman down, he's 501. Hello? This woman could be a bio-terroristic machine. We don't know what the fuck is going on in the sex industry. She could be injected with a neurotoxin, and the sweat from sex touching 1,000 men can infect them with something that is undetectable for 3 months. And for every person that they live with and every person that they have sex with, they pass on something that rearranges that person's DNA. But you want me to, after the evidence of your rulership for 4,000 years, I'm supposed to ignore that. I'm supposed to ignore your behavior and see the cognitive dissonance in your rationale and considering everything, and even this person that's in my chat today, even if it's a woman that's operating in masculine energy, and I'm supposed to believe that masculinity should lead femininity. I believe truly that masculinity without being checked by femininity, and femininity without being checked by masculinity, is absolute destruction. And we see that here with these women and with the participants and with those who are subscribed to their channels, buying their content and continuing the trend in society. For them to even be trending is evidence of failure for the patriarchy and doing the thing that they claim that they do and protect women. No, your extreme nature and your extreme suppression has done the absolute difference. When you suppress something that has the essence of God in it, it will do whatever, even the most disgusting thing, to free itself from your clutches. You cannot suppress something that is not yours to suppress. It will die before it lets you continue. It will stop producing children before it lets you continue. And there I know the birth rates are dropping worldwide to a alarming rate in Japan and in Europe. Ask Elon Musk. It will self-destruct before it continues allowing you to suppress it. So when you hear these men talking this big male talk, these men are idiots because they're not able to see a pattern and recognize that this is not the solution. They are instead fearful men wishing to go back to a previous time, not understanding how that previous time is directly responsible for the present time. And it's going to get worse until balance is restored in the divine masculine and divine feminine spectrums, okay? So I don't know why I went on that tangent, but Spirit may have wanted me to go on that tangent. I'm no longer going to be judging Lily Phillips and this Bonnie Blue girl. God bless them, because if they're even able to have a human experience, given the way that they fed their deities through the consumption of male semen, blood, and soul fiber, then wow, okay? Because if I were an entity, I would take the fucking vessel over. Like, bitch, we don't need you here no more. You gave me your vessel, toodaloo, bitch. I would walk in and I would say, okay, I don't have to be physically responsible for this. I'm going to walk in and take this vessel over, which is why they tell you to follow a certain practice so you keep command over your body because you're still responsible for it. Okay? But these women are the quintessential women who are in, think of the movie Get Out. Those women are in Get Out, but they're not the black dude who is being put under a spell by white people. They're white people who were put under a spell by white people to put everyone else under a spell, if that makes any sense. Okay, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, so follow that crazy pattern I just set up for you, and let me move on to why I came here initially. I'm going to need you ladies to stop reaching out to me. I can smell you. I literally can smell you. Stop reaching out to me like you're cloaking yourself. These are two Cancerian women. And listen, if you are a Cancer woman, please don't take any offense. I have a responsibility to say this, okay? Cancerians are going to come to me because what the fuck else? Who else are you going to come to? Huh? Like, just get over it, bitch. Who else are you going to come to? Because you know that you're not making sense in your own head. Okay? But I came here to let you know you're not fooling me. Because I feel like I'm taking anywhere up for upwards 10, 15, 20 readings per day. And I know each person. There are people who haven't called me for 2 or 3 years. And once they get to talking, I can recall things as if we talked just yesterday. I have an amazing memory, like an elephant. Okay? So I know nuance. I even pay attention. I didn't realize I was doing this, but I even record the way your sentence structure, the way you talk, the way you talk, the way you use language. There's a signature in that. It, I don't give a shit what you think you're doing. Any FBI and CIA or special ops will tell you that the things that are you're unconscious about give you away the most. That's how I can tell men who are not used to women. Men who are very irritated with women are not used to women. Or they've been rejected by women, or they are afraid because they know or they feel that they will be rejected. Men who are used to women or used to having great sexual relationships with women advocate for women because they see women as a source of pleasure. Men who don't like women, they speak really harsh about women, they see women as a source of pain. They don't have a lot of great experiences with women. So you can never lie to me that these manosphere men are just swimming in coochie cat. They cannot be. Because women change men. We do. Whether it's one woman or groups of women. If you want to soften a man, throw a bunch of cat at him from different women. Put him in a pussy prison. That man will walk in Mike Tyson and will walk out Prince. Okay? Or Michael Jackson. Bullshit you not. Okay? He will damn near have a cycle. Okay? Women are very powerful in this way. So when a man is really harsh with women, he sees women as a source of pain for himself. He does not see women as a source of pleasure, which means he doesn't bed or hasn't bedded a lot of women as much as he likes to stroke his ego online. I know that motherfucker is lying. Okay? Or he is a man who is at war with himself because he's gay. Not a gay man who loves himself and respects himself and honors who he is. Those are two different experiences. This is a man who finds something inherently wrong with his desire for the same sex. And he blames women because he wants women to do something to change that for him. Or he feels that it's a woman's failure as to why he likes men. You see it too in the manosphere when they start talking about, when you start listening, all of these gay men, this is because the women will accept it. Why are you feeling that way? You're feeling that way because psychologically, you feel that it's a woman's sexual failure as to why you desire to have a man slide inside of you. Or you desire to slide inside of a man. You're not taking into account other factors in your life. You're not taking into the fact that you may have been a bully. Bullies generally don't like themselves, are very insecure and very scared little boys or little girls. So there's a lot of psychological things that are going on with you that you give off telltale signs as a man. Angry men generally have a couple of things in common. But I wasn't talking about the men. I was talking about two women, two Cancerian women. Baby, I know who you are. Stop getting on the internet. At least give me the benefit of the doubt and respect. To not get on the internet claiming that you know how to cloak yourself. And then speaking to someone, sending subliminals to people. And then going around and telling other people that other folks are in your business when you actively put us in your business. I would urge you to have some respect for the art and respect for the skill if you're going to pirate and act like a con woman and play the part At least respect the technique. I don't know what's going on with my Cancerian sisters and brothers, but I remember I was listening to Amber Khan, and she was saying specifically about cancers that if you don't, for the year, I think this year, and let me talk to you Leo risings, because I did see an article. If you have Leo rising, Pluto is opposite, you have the potential to obsess over someone for the next 20 years. Even if you get married, you will obsess. I got to post it. So if you are Leo rising, or Leo sun, be really careful about what you hyper fixate on with Pluto in opposition to your sun or your rising. I'm not sure about the moon, but I'm going to post it. It's somewhere in my camera log, and I screenshotted it some months ago, but I'm going to post it here, I think, after this live stream. Okay? But yeah, be careful about that, especially for those who are progressing. I'll be progressing as a Leo rising. Right now, I'm a Cancer rising for a couple more years. We have a progression chart. I'm an Aquarius sun right now, progressed. And I think in a couple of days, my moon progresses into Sagittarius. So the philosophical shit will get deeper, okay? Or much more, or become more expanded. But what I'm going to say here, don't fake the funk with people who do this shit, and we got history, and we can lay you out. It's a reason why I was able to go into your home and project my sight into your surroundings. Because every time you contact me, my sight on you becomes stronger and stronger. I'm able to pick your scent up. I'm able to pick your mannerisms up. I'm able to tell your space what you're doing. You're giving me permission to enter into your space and audit your surroundings. Please, out of respect for yourself, stop playing games on the internet. If you like that little boy with the bad teeth, like that little boy and tell that little boy you are obsessed with him. Back to Amber Khan. Amber Khan said, the cancers, you got to decide. Either this year you're going to be super obsessed over someone, or you could be obsessed over yourself. If you're obsessed over someone, you'll be the brokest you've ever been over the next 4 years. If you take that obsession and put that obsession into money, you'll have all the things that you're obsessing about plus the money. So I thought I would say that here because I had 2 Cancerians reach out to me. The last Cancerian has been competing, but coming to me for advice, but competing with me, coming to me for advice. She has a Leo rising. I don't even think she can help it. This shit is crazy. It's like, why would you, out of all people, do this when you have a sun in the 12th house? Why do you think that you're the only one who can see? And furthermore, if you have a sun in your subconscious and I'm doing subconscious work for you, why do you think I'm not going to see the things in your closet? That shit is wild and crazy. How do you not? Why do you think I don't see your ex-husband and see that you're reaching out to me? And I don't care about the story you gave me. Your signature, your syntax, and the way that you think and the way you talk registers. These 2 Cancerian women reach out to me as if I don't see them. And so that's why I said you guys don't either respect psychic abilities, you don't have psychic abilities, or you're just flat foot retarded. And I don't know what it is. And the reason why I don't think you're retarded is because I know Cancerian people. And a lot of times y'all hope that I know who you are, but you believe I can't prove who you are. You actually get a power trip off of me suspecting that I'm talking to you. But the power trips comes from you thinking I can't prove that it's you I'm talking to. And that's where you would be fucking ridiculous. Because not only can I prove that it's you talking to me, I can compare the screenshots of the chats with your internet screenshots of your talking on, like, whenever you chat, and the things that you write, and you will see the similarities in the sentence structure, the cohesiveness in the way you talk behind your avatar up against the way you talk without an avatar. There's a cohesiveness in the sentence structure. Okay? That's the first thing. And then for some of you, you can see that you have a history of commenting under your own post from different names. And the sentence structure is the same. Which, listen, do what you got to do to market yourself and to get other, and to make other people comfortable to engage your posts and your videos. I'm not hating on you for that. Whatever, because I know that one of the marketing structures on YouTube is to get people to pay like $100, $150 in a live stream, because then it encourages other people to send in $10 and $20 as a super chat. It's a marketing strategy on YouTube. So listen, do your thing, right? But my thing is that stop playing with me though. Like, I know you are obsessive. I know that you like to gamble. You have dealt with obsession. You've dealt with addiction in your past. And people who have addictive personalities, they will become addicted to even hating somebody. They become addicted to anything, because it becomes, and if when you're a Cancer and you are addictive, it becomes a way to soothe yourself like a blanket. Like, you can't go to sleep at night unless you talk to this person, unless you have this conversation, and unless, even if it's negative attention, so long as you're able to keep a connection with someone, that's where you go. This is a water sign trait. Okay? I'm not yet talking about Scorpio and Pisces, because Scorpio actually is more sensitive than Cancer. It's very powerful, but Scorpios can also disassociate with their behavior. But I have them down to a science that is undeniable. Even the most Scorpionic person, who is the most cognitively dissonant person, will not be able to deny when I break things down about the psychology behind what they can do. Water signs, this was makes water signs so powerful, is that you can compartmentalize and give yourself different personalities, right? But stop playing with me. Okay? Both are desperate. I get it. It's a human trait to be desperate. One person desperately is cleaving to a particular man, and they are compulsive. That Leo energy, that Virgo moon. Virgo moon will wrestle a bitch down. When you got Virgo moon, it's you cannot. When you put fucking Cancer with Virgo moon and a Leo rising, which makes one blind to themselves. Because let's think about it. If the fucking sun was on top of your head, would you see your fucking shadow? Fuck no. Would you see anyone else? No. You know how the light can be so bright that you're blinded? Aha, Leo. Leos don't be knowing shit until they are forced to know it. Okay? Let's get into it. Don't get offended, learn. We all have to learn, okay? That's what this is about. This is a master class. So when you got those kind of elements working, this person doesn't believe that they come off desperate. And they don't think that we all see it. Shout out to Astro Queen. I believe she was talking about this in one of her readings the other day. Everyone can see it. Like, we all know that you're talking to a particular person. We all know that you're getting ignored by this person. We all know that you feel inadequate. It's you don't think we know. For whatever reason, you're able to read everyone else psychically, but they always tell you about Cancer. Cancer is one of the most psychic signs in the zodiac, right? But they cannot read for themselves to literally save their life. Like literally, to literally, if they had to read for themselves, they could not read for themselves if it meant to save their lives. The only caveat to that is if through saving someone else's life, they end up saving their life, then that would be the caveat. That would be the determining factor in their abilities. This is their blind spot. Otherwise, they are cooked crab. Another thing, too, let me add this. I'm not a know it all, but you can tell that you're Neptunian or a water spirit. Loving seafood is not the biggest trait. If someone has a high allergic reaction to shellfish and seafood, they are more of a mermaid, water spirit. Because think about it. Why would they be a cannibal? Think about what I'm saying. Why would they eat from the, okay, I understand there are fish that eat other fish. But people who have allergies, just like people who you say that they have nymph like water spirits, a lot of them are dreadfully afraid of the ocean. Well, if you know that if some love seafood, then some who have high intolerance to seafood are very watery beings. So whenever something's extreme, like extreme love or extreme like rejection, there's more of a connection in those in that sense. One maybe has a positive connection to it, one has a traumatic connection to it, but there's a deep connection. I just wanted to add that little 2 cents in because I think that people who fall under Cancerian, Scorpio, and Pisces get lost in their sun sign, and they claim to be into astrology but don't understand the power of progressions and the power of houses. And I'm sorry, but you tell me, who's the more powerful water energy? The person who was born in a water house or the person who has a water sign who's not in a water house? Because water is an environment, is it not? It's an atmosphere, right? You may be walking and embodying water, but you may not actually know what it's like to experience you. You're you, but you don't know what it's like to experience you. That's the difference between a zodiac sign and a house, to give you perspective, okay? So, like I said, y'all be playing with certain people, and these people are 12th house people, are 8th house people, are 4th house solar people. When they got either sun, the sun's depositor, or a sign that represents the sun, such as Leo, in the 4th house or the 3rd house. Especially extra points if it's in the 3rd house and they are a Gemini or a Gemini rising, which gives them access to the 3rd house naturally. You got to be oh so fucking for real. Okay? If these people have that solar energy in that 4th house, leaving that 3rd house, and they have other dominance in other water houses, stop playing with us. Let me just help you out. The thing that turns me off about you is the same thing that's turning off the men that you are trying to get. They see your desperation. By them seeing your desperation, what that says to you about you, in contrast to other women, is that you are the weaker link. You're the one with the least amount of value. You are the burden. You're the one who need more. You are the one who is more of a responsibility. And that every other woman is easier to deal with, less of a burden, much more of a reward, and of higher value. in comparison to you. So your hyperfixation on someone outside of you or your hyperfixation on competition denotes that you are the most insecure out of the people, especially when you're competing up against someone who's not competing with you. That means that you are the weakest link. You are so threatened. And then that denotes that you are the worst option, not the best option. So take your feet off of the gas for a moment and ask yourself, in the way that you are behaving, would you instruct your children to behave that way? And if you know that that's a solid no, fuck out of my face and stop doing this dumb shit. Okay? I'm highly traumatized by watching women who are relatively young or attractive act this way, and I'm starting to develop a complex. I understand what Ashira was saying the other day when she said she stopped doing consultations because she was on the edge of her seat ready to cuss people the fuck out. And she doesn't like to behave that way. But doing readings for people who were flat foot crazy, specifically women, was turning her into a person that she didn't like because these women were crazy. Okay? And what I'm telling you is this. I'm going to continue to take your money. I'm going to continue to do your readings. But I will do an expose each time. Okay? And for the next 20 years, you will be a constant source of income. And I will do so without any guilt, any shame, vampirically, parasitically, in response to your own parasitic natures. Okay? Respect the technique. Get yourself together. Because if you're expecting me to block you and stop you, I'm not going to do it. You will go bankrupt if I had my say in it in paying me. Not one of your kids would eat another meal until you paid me, if it were up to me. I would be performing on you what is called, that women are doing with men, and it's called financial dominance, or being a financial dom, a cash dom, but on you. And I would do so without any guilt, even to your detriment. If it meant that it became so painful for you that you would be sent into another dimension of thinking and you would release yourself from this bullshit. Okay? I just wanted to come in and say that because I give a disclaimer, just like this person said, I want you to be my mistress. I said, wait a minute. I'm a Capricorn. I'm on the cusp with Sagittarius, but a Capricorn nonetheless. And I want you to understand that there are terms and conditions before you sign your soul over to me. And once you sign that contract, who you not finna pay? Who the fuck you not finna pay? Okay? So I just want to come in and talk to y'all about this. This is how people get locked up and stuff. This is how people let themselves go. All right? I said a lot of shit today. A lot of psychological crazy babble shit. But somewhere it made sense, and I hope that you were able to extract something meaningful from it, and that you were able to listen to the examples that I spoke about and reflect something about yourself from them, like I'm going to do for me when I listen back. And hopefully this helps you analyze yourself, become a lot more self-aware about your implicit biases and the way in which you are complicit to the very things that you are disturbed by, so that you can start to untangle yourself and move towards a much more a much higher plateau of existence. That should be what we're all concerned about. We should all be willing to look at the cesspool, go under the lake of fire in hell, if it means to free us from this state of hell so that we can ascend. Okay? So that's what we're here to do. This is your host, Nala the Neptunian, for Nala-Ife Talks Live, unscripted and off the chain, might I add. I love y'all. I really do. But again, life is harsh, and I have been through too much. I have too much skill under my belt, too much knowledge and wisdom under my belt to not fuck you up. Especially when I know on the other side of it, you're going to be so much better. Okay? Medicine is always bitter. I'm trying to add a little sugar to it, but medicine is meant to be bitter in order to correct the behavior. All right? Y'all have a good one. Happy rest of the Capricorn season before we get into Aquarius season. Happy birthday to all of the Capricorns, and I will talk to you guys here soon. Peace.